All right, gentlemen, and we're going to piggyback all the way through. One of the bets we did hit yesterday was Alex Ov, as the cool kids call him, scoring his 900th career goal in the NHL. It's never been done before. He's one of the all-time greats. However, the opposing goal minder, his name is Jonathan Binnington. And he decided, oh, nobody's going to look, and stuffed it down his drawers, thinking, I'm going to keep this thing, put it on eBay. Well, eventually they got it back. I'm not quite sure who took it from him with gloves. But Zeno, let me start with you, then DG and Peyton. Your thoughts on Binnington putting the record-setting puck down his pants?
Well, that's, where you hide something. Like when I go through the airport with illicit drugs, I usually stuff in my pants. That's, natural reaction.
Me too.
Better than Michael Vick's weed water bottles, I suppose. But anyway, we digress here. Look, nice try. I get why he did it. I don't know. The column that I read made it seem like he was trying to do it nefarious. I thought he was doing it as like a joke.
So it was. I'm joking about how he did it.
I
yes,
know, like the column I read on a couple of websites made it seem like, well, the ref had to go up to him and scold him.
Yeah.
To get the puck back. The guy. It's not like he skated away and go, I don't have it. He gave it right back to him. Like I would have done the same thing. I'm like, this might be worth something. Let me just see if anybody notices. So I laughed it off.
I think it was supposed to be funny, but now that we're hearing about it, like Binnington is not a nice guy, that he actually was trying to be mean about this. But I guess my qualms with this whole thing is, where is the interview after the game? Like, you cannot find him on an interview anywhere. That's stupid. Somebody missed a spot to interview him right after the game.
This was hilarious. But with a goalie mask, you can't see what his real intentions were while he was having a conversation with the ref. He might have planned on giving it personally to Opie after the game, but when he's got that mask on and no one can see his face, he looks so guilty when the referee came over to him and asked him to hand it over, and he had to go digging in his pants for it. So I just hope they washed it afterwards. Pretty funny to watch that last night.
Well, the still shot was like him doing that. Oh God! It's like him doing this. We've seen times in baseball and football where somebody will score their first touchdown or hit their first home run, and they don't know, and they'll throw it into the crowd. What if he would have thrown it into the crowd? That would have been something, because remember the kid a couple of weeks ago at the football game that he caught Bills and then he jetted out of there? That's what I would have done with that damn puck. You're damn sure that's what I would have done. But congratulations to Ovi. 900 goals.
By the way, Binnington let a lot of goals past him last night. I think he gave up 4 of them and was pulled in the third period.
That's the only one he stopped.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only one. Oh, there we go. 6-1. All right, let's go to the NBA for topic number 2. Because Wemby got off to an incredible start this season. But last night, the Lakers may have figured out exactly how to attack him, because they attacked him. They got him in foul trouble 3 in the first half, and he was never really a factor. And then if you watched at the end of the game, the Lakers somehow, despite all their mistakes, won their 5th game in a row. Luka, another double-double, 37, 13 assists, 9 rebounds, I believe. But this was about Wemby. And Zeno, I really felt like for the first time this year, he looked like the young, weaker kid that he should be, and not the dominant NBA superstar that we want him to be this year.
I try not to extrapolate too much from one bad game or even a small sample of bad games. It's a long NBA season. Guys are going to have stretches that are less than impressive, and they're going to have high-level stretches that make you feel like they're on top of the world. I don't think this is an indictment on Wemby's overall talent or ability. Probably just a bad night for him. I'm sure he'll go off again here real soon.
Well, if you look at the last game against the Suns, they did the exact same thing to him, where it put him in foul trouble, and they end up losing the Spurs. And so now back-to-back games losses, but also back-to-back nights where he's been in foul trouble the entire game. He actually fouled out in this one. There might be some tape now that we're seeing that where you can get underneath of him, draw some charges, make him force the ball out, and make the other people beat you at the Spurs. I think that's what we're seeing now on the coach's film.
I think Wemby looked really soft last night. There were plenty of times he would go to the rim, but just couldn't finish because he was expecting to get fouled. Now, when we had a lane, he threw it down, but an open lane, he threw it down. But with some defenders in the lane, he had some trouble finishing over them last night. What he's been doing for the Spurs is sensational, and he needs some help offensively. So the Spurs are going to be for real once they get De'Aaron Fox back. And baby De'Aaron Fox didn't play last night. Dylan Harper, he's been great for them too at 19 years old.
Mhm.
Spurs are good and young, and they can be a real contender.
Yeah, there were a couple of moments in the game last night. They were up double digits in the third quarter. They had the game in control. Instead of pushing it out, then they brought it back to obviously tied down the stretch. He banged knees at one point and just stopped playing. And the Lakers grabbed the ball, took it out of bounds, and the Spurs were just standing there. And the Lakers went down and had a dunk uncontested. That stuff cannot happen. And they end up losing by 2 points. It cannot happen. But Zeno, I think I agree with your take the most, that there's a lot of up and down. He's got to figure out how to be a little bit tougher than what he showed last night. If you're going to bang a knee, throw the ball somewhere else. Don't just hold it so they can take it away from you. Now, speaking of frustrating, he's not one of my. The most frustrating player that I watch in the NBA day in and day out, week in and week out, is Karl-Anthony Towns. Cat. And he said last night, he is still stunned by the trade from Minnesota to the Knicks. But gentlemen, he didn't get traded yesterday. He got traded last year. How is he still hanging on to the stunned? Stunned? And they score 137, win by 20. Zeno, stunned?
Yeah, look, when you get drafted by an organization, you grow up in an organization, you're the biggest player in the organization for a long time. You almost get a sense of invincibility or superiority about, what your status means. And for the T-Wolves to just ship that off saying, and this was after a trip to the Western Conference Finals, right?
Mhm.
Like this was after reaching a height where that team hadn't reached in a really long time. You think, okay, we're going to run this thing back. And then they say sayonara. I mean, listen, man, sometimes getting dumped by a girl stings with you. It stays with you for a long time. You don't forget that kind of pain. I mean,
Yeah.
Cat's in a good place right now. I mean, obviously the Knicks are a title contender again, but I understand where he's coming from with it.
Yeah, when he's playing his old team, right? He's reminiscing about that, but also the reporters are asking about, seeing the other guys on the other side of the court and just playing your old team. So I think it was more of a reminiscing thing. We're bringing back a lot of those memories where he probably was stunned. And in all honesty, he's at a better spot. I know he's not playing alongside Ant, but he's still with the Knicks and over in the Eastern Conference, which is the biggest thing for him. I still hate watching him play. There's nothing about his game that I like or enjoy. But yeah, he probably is still a little stunned.
Dude, get over it. He's talking about it like it's the biggest trade that's happened the last 10 years. I mean, this isn't Luka to the Lakers. This is Cat to the Knicks. Like, dude, really? I mean, you can't say, yeah. And after the game, he goes, yeah, and it's weird not to see Towns on the back of those fire black jerseys they were wearing last night. Like, no. Why are you saying how fire your old team's jerseys were? It's just weird, and he needs to get over it.
The face that he uses when he has one of those dumb fouls that sends him to the bench, it drives me insane. It's like when a defensive back gets a pass interference. I'm like, Cat, you've done it for years. Move your feet. Play some defense. Shoot from 24, not 28. Now, huge news in the world of sports betting, which obviously Coach and Company is a part of. I have content at ESPN. Zeno has content at ESPN. I work for the PGA Tour, do all of their betting streams on the big events at ESPN. And ESPN Bet, as of December 1st, gentlemen, will be no more. But clearly they're working behind the scenes because they announced it this morning. And then just minutes later, they announced a big new partnership with DraftKings. Zeno, your thoughts on ESPN Bet going away, and now DraftKings will be the official betting partner of the place where you and I both work.
Let's be clear on what the ESPN Bet partnership was. It was a licensing agreement with Penn Gaming. ESPN never ran the sports book. And that said, Penn Gaming / ESPN Bet had horrible lines. They were not sharp. They were soft, and it wasn't a very widely bet sports book. And that's sort of the reason why ESPN is pulling off the licensing agreement and now going with DraftKings. It's a smart business move for ESPN. It's a smart move for DraftKings, one of the biggest names in sports betting, to partner with the worldwide leader and continue a partnership of growth together. So I think it's incredibly well done by ESPN. And the big loser here is Penn Gaming. Once again, this is the second sponsorship of a sports book they've crashed out on.
Yeah, Penn Gaming is just losing at every chance they get. And their book, as we've talked about already, it sucked. Like the ESPN bet like app just overall, it wasn't good. The lines weren't good. And because of that, people weren't placing bets. You can't go into a world and be a sports book and have terrible lines and have nothing for anybody to play. So yes, I think that it's smart that they're separating, and honestly, they need to be out of the sports book game.
And that was quick. They were gone in what, 2, 3 years? And I mean, you
Mhm.
go 2 years and you go in, and I was really surprised by how awful their lines were. I thought ESPN Bet would have some legitimate good lines to bet on, but so many people like myself would go in there and then say, "Oh, okay, let's see what DraftKings has." And boom, you're on DraftKings the rest of the time, and that's for your enter your picks. And too many people just did that, and here we are just 2 years later and they're done.
Well, when you're last to the party to get people to come over from being at FanDuel or being at DraftKings already, or even BetMGM for that matter, you got to have something that's above and beyond where you already were. And the big thing that they were trying to do for the technology was go into a game like the Clippers in Phoenix tonight, click on a button, and that would take you right into your sports book. That never materialized. And sports bettors, we like convenience. We want to make it easy. And hopefully now with DraftKings, it can be a lot easier than it was with the ESPN Bet app.